Sounds like we got everyone to talk about the Miss Edith thing later. Now, where did I leave off back when we were talking about the cool girls? Oh, right. So, Himiko was all like, whatever, that doesn't make it your business, to Sarah. Not very nice. She always was kind of bitchy. I mean, I don't like to say too much mean girl shit like that. But you are 100% correct. So anyway, now Himiko is being all prissy about it. That's pretty unbelievable of her. You know, I do know something about Himiko that would really put her in place. Oh, and what's that? Dish. Well... Monica whispers something to Natsuki. Well. How interesting. I know, right? But if anyone asks, you didn't hear it from me. Gosh, Monica. I never knew you were so savage when it came to high school drama. Well, there's a reason I have a reputation as a popular girl. And yet I never see you hanging out with the popular cliques. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen you socialize at all outside of the literature club. It seems like you could be a real queen bee if you wanted to. So why don't you? Well, listen closely because this is a real school secret of the universe. It's much better to have the reputation for being popular than it is to be popular. If people think you're popular, they won't mess with you and you'll have an easier time in school. But you don't have to get engaged in all the messy drama that comes with actually being popular. Does that make sense?
I don't know how you would ever orchestrate that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, actually. Unfortunately, I think I'm slightly addicted to being actually popular. Well, to each their own.
Hey everyone. MC sets his backpack down by his usual spot. Did we get my mod all coded?
Sure did. We finished it up the day before yesterday, actually. It wasn't too bad to do at all.
Well, I didn't know what kind of stuff you guys could or could not do, so I tried to keep it pretty simple.
You did a very good job, I think. Although I'm curious how you knew so well what actually happened that day.
Natsuki told me.
Not Sayori?
No, she's been a little quieter and more low energy lately. Recently. What was it, lately or recently? Now I can't even remember. History, what did it say? It said recently. Okay, thank you. I think she's going through a cycle of her depression.
Well, hopefully Club will cheer her up today. Hello, everyone. It looks like almost everyone's here. Once Sayori arrives, I have a surprise to share with everyone. Ominous. It's a good surprise, I promise.
Hi, everybody! It's literature time! I'm super excited to see your bod, MC.
My whisper's MC. Didn't you say she was quieter and more low energy?
I guess not anymore.
Well, everyone's here now. So, Yuri, what's the surprise you have for everyone? Well, in honor of the mod MC made for today, I brought this.
Yuri reaches into her bag and produces 3 dark green labeled glass bottles filled with sparkling liquid.
You brought wine again? Ah!
Sayori.
Oh, we're gonna get in trouble! Ah!
Sayori continues to run frantically in a circle around a couple of the desks.
Sayori. It's just sparkling apple cider.
But cider is alcoholic!
No, this is the kind of cider that's really just unfiltered apple juice. I just thought it might be fun to play a little joke. And also, sparkling cider is delicious.
Phew! You had me pretty scared for a second there. I did something really campy.
I could see I had. Hey, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead reference. You read it. I did. Good job with the cider, Yuri. Even I was concerned for a second.
Me too.
I was kind of looking forward to drinking wine with you guys, to be honest. But it's probably best if we don't do that. In the club, anyway. Indeed. Okay, everyone, let's get started with club while Yuri pours our classy beverages. Today we have MC's mod, poems, and emails to get through, with maybe a little bit of free time. What do we want to do first?
I want to see MC's bod.
Fair enough.
I thought you were going to give me an option for once, but, you know, I guess this is the normal flow of things.
Just give me a second to get it set up.
That was a pretty good joke, Yuri. Now that I'm not freaking out anymore.
Thanks. You, have a very healthy pair of lungs. Although sometimes I wonder if you're even breathing when you yell like that. It helps if you remind her to do so. She listens. I'll keep that in mind. Alright, all set to go. Remember not to talk during it or we'll confuse our viewers. Here we go.
Doki Doki Wine Club by MC! How it went then. It's another day at the Literature Club. Sayori and Monica are chatting, and Natsuki is reading her manga. Yuri furtively glances to the doors, and then pulls out a bottle of wine.
Ahem.
The rest of the club turns and looks at Yuri, unaccustomed to her trying to gain attention. She pulls out a bottle of wine.
Would anyone like some wine?
Dots. More dots.
Oh my god! Yuri, you can't bring that in here! We'll get in so much trouble!
You are something else, Yuri. It's like you just dropped it so casually. Like, hey, does anyone want tea? Only this time it's alcohol. You picked the classiest of all alcohols, too. Very on brand. Look, Yuri, I'm sure you meant well, but we really can't have that kind of thing here. We could get in a lot of trouble if anyone finds out we were drinking in here. I'm not going to say you have to take it out of the room right now, but let's just put it away.
No way! We've gotta get that bottle out of here, man! Yuri, go hide it in your locker or something!
Sayori, I'm sure it'll be perfectly fine if she just keeps it in her bag.
We could get expelled, Monica! Quick, Yuri, there's no time to lose to the lockers!
Sayori!
No, Yuri, get that wine out of here! I command it as vice president of the literature club!
Yuri walks out without another word. 15 minutes later.
I guess she's not coming back.
I feel kind of bad now. I just didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. I hope she comes back tomorrow.
How it would go now? I figured there would probably be another part to this. It's another day at the literature club. Sayori and Monica are chatting, and Natsuki is reading her manga. Yuri flirtedly glances to the doors, and then pulls out a bottle of wine.
Ahem.
The rest of the club turns and looks at Yuri, unaccustomed to her trying to gain attention. She pulls out a bottle of wine.
Would anyone like some wine?
Oh my god! I would love some wine!
Oh, what is that, a cab? No, it's a Merlot, actually. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's crack this bitch open!
20 minutes later.
So, anyone feeling anything yet? I feel a little warm, but I don't feel like buzzed or anything. I think I feel a little different, but not really that much. I still feel pretty normal. I don't feel anything at all yet.
Guys! What if literature club, like, if we were all drunk, we would be the literature club. We'd be literature club.
Sayori's head falls onto the desk in front of her.
Well, that sure worked fast on her. Probably because she has less body mass. Shouldn't that apply to me even more so? I guess you're intrinsically more capable of holding your alcohol, Natsuki. Kick ass! Let's have a few more. Let's make sure Sayori drinks some water when she wakes up.
30 more minutes later.
Oh, I'm definitely feeling it now. I feel dangerously close to doing impromptu poetry. There's that impromptu. Impromptu. Let's all do impromptu poetry. Is this what being drunk feels like? I don't think I like this at all. It's so hard to keep control of what you say and think. You're not supposed to try and keep control. You're supposed to let yourself run free and wild, like a child in the wild of a forest. Poetry! I think I actually kind of hate this. I don't like not being in control of myself. It's really scary. How are you doing, Natsuki? Yuri, why are you so pretty? It's not fair. I wish I was as pretty as you are. And you know all your smart words. Dummy. Oh, but Natsuki, you're pretty. You don't want to be like me. I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I'm a weird weirdo. You're much cooler than me. I'm not cool.
30 more minutes later.
Shiori, why are you crying?
world is sad. Like, all the starving people are like little birdies whose mom died. Oh my gosh. You guys, she's right. The world is sad. Those poor birdies. Happy little children playing in the nest. They sing joyously for the bright future of a vast sky. They know that warm love is coming, a caring heart, a providing beak. But they don't know their future's not the sky, but the ground. That hurt me. Like, deep down in my core. Monica, did you hear that? That was some edgy shit. Monica.
Of course, she's trying not to sober up.
Ugh. Damn it.
Please, I hate losing self-control. Let me out of here. Fuck you. The next day.
Let us never speak of yesterday again. Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad. I feel like we mostly had fun. I think I remember Yuri made up a really good poem, like, about birds or something.
My head hurts.
You didn't drink enough water like we told you to.
Yeah, but I think overall I had fun. I would do that again. Maybe only once in a while though. Ow.
Well, you all can go get wasted again if you want. But I think I'm officially a non-drinker. That was terrifying. Wow, that whole experience didn't sit well with you at all, did it? It did not. I guess I have a little bit of a phobia about things that shake my self-control. Anyway, on with the rest of the club.
The end. I was talking to my drinking glass, I'm sorry.
Wow, the first bit was weirdly accurate. And the second bit struck me as weirdly authentic to how it would actually be if we got wasted. Other than me flirting with Yuri. But in general, I'm surprised at how true to life it seemed.
Thanks, I wrote most of it, but for Monica and Yuri, I asked them to help write their characters.
Wait, so Monica being drunk really scares you? It really does. Not being in control of one's own mind is terrifying to me. And not just because of alcohol. Things like dementia or Alzheimer's are horrifying. I always feel so bad for people going through things like that. It's one of my worst fears. But anyway, I think your motto's very fun, MC. Just remember the show don't tell rule.
Can't say I'm familiar with that.
Well, basically it's a rule for telling stories. Let's say you have a character who's sad. You could just say, she felt sad. And if you're a good writer, you could even spruce it up a little. I could write something like, a pit of sadness opened in her, or something fancy like that. But that's just telling the reader that she's sad, asking them to accept it because you wrote it. It can work okay, especially if what you're telling the reader has proper context and makes sense, if she has a good reason to be sad, for instance. But it's usually far better to show the reader something rather than just tell it to them. Like you can write, her lip, normally so stoic, quivered slightly, and her eyes fell to the floor. That makes her sadness more vivid and tangible, and it paints a scene that it's easier for the reader to project themselves into. That's what the show don't tell rule is about.
That was pretty deep stuff, Monica.
No, it was just Monica's writing tip of the day. Now let's get going with poems. This week we were supposed to write a poem about painting. A painting. Theory, why don't you lead us off?
Sure. My poem is about Luncheon of the Boating Party by Renoir.
I have no idea what that is. Oh, I think it's going with one.
Lunch. There's nothing I like more than happy faces, a wonderful hum of energy and delight, a lovely day spent with friends. It's so easy to lose yourself in someone else. They lean into each other with eager attention, except two. One who is lost in the scene, the beautiful river and the sights and smells, and one who is lost inside, the maze of her own mind.
Oh, hey. Hello. I'm clicking here. Okay.
Is this the painting from Emily?
Yeah,
And you identify with the girl who has the glass, right?
yeah.
Nice, I got you downloaded. I just had an interesting thought. The painting I chose doesn't have any people in it. I wonder if the painting we chose are reflections of our personalities. Like, Siri picked one that was filled with social dynamics to analyze.
And that would make sense. Although maybe it's just a reflection of what we're good at writing about. Siri is good at writing about social dynamics in people's minds and that kind of stuff.
Yes, she is. I think the interesting questions about her poem are about the two people who stand out, and why they stand out. The poem leaves much unanswered about why the man lost in the environment is so detached. Is he a nature lover? Does he not enjoy the company? This is really kind of inscrutable without being familiar with the painting in advance. And a woman lost in her own mind. Does she want to be, or is she struggling with her thoughts? Good questions. Here's mine. It's based off of The Empire of Light by Rene Magritte. Have at it. The bearable lightness. I walk down the darkened alleyway at night, a single street lamp the only beacon of light. The rustling of trees whispers fearfully in my ears as I make my way back home, trying to calm my fears as the sun burns bright in the sky above me. Ha! I like it! It's really cool how you capture the paradox of the original painting with words. I thought you might like this one, Natsuki. I kinda don't get either the painting or the poem.
Can't say I do either.
Well, I think it's just about a paradox. And it's interesting what paradoxes do to our minds. A bright, beautiful sky should be a happy, reassuring thing. But taken in this context, where the ground below is dark and it's nighttime, it actually becomes unsettling and frightening. Which I think Monica's poem does a great job capturing. Thanks, Yuri. Do you want to go next? Sure. Mine is about the painting Guernica by Picasso.
I only know this one in name, for reasons that aren't entirely clear to anyone.
The horror, the horror. Even the bull knows the depths, the depravity that lies in the human heart. It can hear it, in the wail of the grieving, in the whine of the bombs, in the groans of the dying.
Give me that bar.
An artist is an engine, and today it takes in its fuel from raw suffering, and churns out as product pure horror, black and distilled, omnipresent lurking, waiting to steal the face of any willing to sell their humanity. Ugh, people really do suck sometimes. Yep, that's the point of the painting. Maybe you should describe a bit of the history of the painting for our viewers in case they don't know. Sure. So, Picasso was a Spaniard living in France when the Spanish Civil War broke out just prior to World War II. The Nazis were supporting the nationalist side and helped to bomb a town in northern Spain called Guernica. They completely disregarded any military targets and just firebombed the whole city. A lot of helpless innocent people died. Picasso had been commissioned to make a mural for a fair, and he didn't really have any inspiration for it. But then he read an eyewitness account of the bombing, and it really got to him. So he worked really hard, and he invited people to watch him make it, which he usually didn't do. He was very outraged. And in the end, he made the painting Guernica, which depicts the horror of the bombing. It's usually seen as an anti-war painting in general. It's about all the suffering and pointless terror of war.
But your poem is more about the horror inside people. That's why the title is that quote, the horror, right?
Quite right. The horror of war would not exist but for that blackness that lies in everyone's hearts that we constantly have to fight. I guess that's what I was trying to get at with my poem. Who's next?
I'll go next. Mine's about The Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali. That's the one with the melty clocks.
Is that the clock one?
It is. A soft watch. What is fixed? A meter is 1 meter. A gram is a gram. And an hour is an hour. Or is that a shan? The hardest of measures, the firmest of clocks. At the end of all things, will still melt and stop. And what you thought was true beyond doubt, you'll find is nothing you can figure out.
Seems kind of abstract. Kind of like the original painting, I guess. A little, but it's sort of concrete. I read it as being about uncertainty, and how to some extent all our knowledge is founded on assumption. You know what I always liked about that painting? Just the image of the melting clocks. I never read much into it. I just thought the melting clocks looked cool. I agree with Monica's interpretation, but I think Dolly would have liked Natsuki's take on things better. Okay, that just leaves Natsuki. Alright, mine is about my favorite painting, which is Irises by Van Gogh. Iris and Pupil. I love the gentle greens, the distant reds, the flowing, soothing blues, the single white, a beam of light above a soft chartreuse, the firm, strong brown that is the ground underneath and all about, but most of all, I love the black. It's the outline that stands out.
Damn, Natsuki, throwing chartreuse in there. Did you learn that word from Blue's Clues?
Well, that was lovely. I adore the way your poem is themed around the painting's colors. And of all our poems, yours is more about the painting itself, rather than an exploration of the subject of the painting. If that makes sense. It does. I really wanted it to be about why I find this painting so visually appealing. It really comes across. It makes looking at the painting much more vivid. This is a wonderful poem, Natsuki.
Every time I think I've written a decent poem, one of you guys hits such a big home run that I'm reminded of how far behind you all I really am. Really great work, Natsuki.
Natsuki, this is my favorite poem you've ever written. It's amazing. It's so cute and pretty. It's wonderful to think about all the colors in your head and the things in the painting they correspond to. It's kind of like trying to hear individual instruments in a symphony or individual ingredients in a dish. It's a super cool way to think about a painting. I love it.
Aw, thank you, Sayori. Let's get to emails before my ego gets inflated too big, Monica. Can do. Give me and Sayori just a minute to set up.